Have you ever felt, well, stuck? Kind of like you're on a road that just seems to disappear way off in the distance and you just can't break past some invisible limit? Well, today we're going to explore why those limits, they're often just an illusion. And we're going to figure out how you can become the true author of your own story. You know that feeling, right? That invisible wall we all seem to hit? Turns out, it often just comes down to a simple matter of perspective. It's this powerful trick our minds play on us, and it all starts with the way we were taught to see the world. I want you to think way back to like grade school art class. Remember this? The art teacher walks up to the chalkboard and draws two lines. They start out wide at the bottom and get closer and closer together until they meet at some imaginary point. And just like that, poof, a flat surface suddenly has depth. It looks like a road disappearing over the horizon. It's a really powerful illusion made from something so simple. And here's the thing, that's the whole point. The road, the distance, that vanishing point, none of it is actually real. On the chalkboard, they're just lines. But the way they're positioned, well, it tells a whole new story. And it's exactly the same with the so-called limits in our lives. They can feel incredibly real, for sure, but so often they're just barriers that we've built inside our own minds. So why? Why do we build these walls in the first place? I mean, if they're just illusions, why do they feel so solid? Well, it turns out there's this constant battle happening inside every single one of us, a real tug-of-war between the life we dream of and what our primal biology is basically programmed to do. So here's how that internal battle really breaks down. On one side, you've got your biology, that lizard brain part of you, and it is fighting for one thing and one thing only: comfort. It wants safety, security, the path of least resistance. It actually prefers stagnation because, hey, stagnation is predictable. But then, on the other side, you've got your soul, and it wants something completely different. It craves growth, it wants meaning, it wants the magnificence of a life that's truly lived. That's the conflict right there. And this brings us to the real danger zone. You see, it's often not failure that holds us back. It's being good enough. Being comfortable is like wrapping yourself in a warm blanket. It feels nice, right? It gives you just enough to make stepping out into the cold, into the unknown, feel, well, kind of dumb. It stops you from chasing what you truly crave. Because why would you risk what's good for something that's totally uncertain? Okay, so how in the world do we win this internal battle? The first tool in our toolbox is really understanding the power of belief and how what's inside of you completely determines what you get out of the world. Let me ask you a really simple question. It's got an obvious answer, but bear with me. Can you squeeze grapefruit juice from an orange? No, right? Of course not. You can squeeze that thing all day long, but you're only ever going to get what's already inside of it.
And that's the whole point of the metaphor. Your external world, it's just a reflection of your internal one. You can't squeeze financial freedom from a mindset of scarcity. You can't build a meaningful, amazing life if your core belief is that you're not worthy of one. Plain and simple, what's inside is what comes out.
So this is the path. This is how you build a new reality. It always starts with belief. You have to genuinely believe, deep down, that a different outcome is possible. That belief then becomes the fuel for your actions, pushing you to do the things that bring that vision to life. And then those actions, when you repeat them consistently over time, that's what actually constructs your new world, brick by brick. It all begins with what you choose to believe. Okay, so you believe it's possible, awesome. But what happens when the goal feels absolutely monumental, when it's just so big and scary? This is where we shift gears from just mindset to practical, unstoppable action. I want you to imagine jumping into a freezing cold plunge for 90 seconds, okay? When you're in there, shivering, every single second feels like an eternity. The whole idea of 90 seconds is just overwhelming. But what if you only had to focus on getting through the next 30 seconds? And in the next 30? All of a sudden, the impossible task feels, well, manageable, actionable. And look, this isn't just some clever mental trick. For some, it's a literal survival strategy. Louis Zamperini, the Olympian and American POW, endured unimaginable hell during World War II by focusing only on the next small chunk of time. He said that if he tried to look at the whole experience, it would have been too much to even comprehend. He survived by breaking the insurmountable down into something manageable.
So I want you to ask yourself this. The next time you feel completely overwhelmed by a goal, what is your smallest, most actionable first step? What is your 30-second piece? Maybe it's sending one email, making one phone call, or just taking one walk around the block. Find it, and then just begin.
All right, this brings us to the final, and I think the most crucial idea of all.
Overcoming your limits isn't a one-and-done kind of fix. It's a continuous process, a daily choice to be the author of your own life.
You know, it's so easy to look at our circumstances like they're a set of rules we just have to follow. But reality, it's much more like a canvas. It isn't fixed, it's something we are actively creating every single day with our beliefs and our actions. And when you stop building, you kind of stop living.
And what's so incredible about all this is that it is never, ever too late to change course. It doesn't matter how long you've been on a certain path, you are always just one single decision away from changing your direction and taking back control of your own story.
So, the power is yours. You're the one holding the pen. The question is no longer what story you've been given, but what story will you choose to write starting right now?
So as we wrap this up, I want you to think about this. Your life is a movie, and it's playing out right now. The big question you have to answer for yourself is, are you just sitting in the audience, watching it all happen? Or are you the star, actively shaping every single scene? The choice, as always, is yours.